Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is our next Sunday night meeting together where I'm going to explain the eschatological things that are going on around you, and I'll try to verify things because that's the question I'm answering this week. Can I verify things cosmologically, prophetically, biblically? Can I give you some things that you can actually eat, like locusts on a log? Interesting. What a snack. Locusts are edible. God said so in Leviticus 11. So keep that in mind as you hear the next stories coming up and as I answer these questions for you. So a huge swarm of locusts descends on Mecca yesterday, basically, and that would be January 10th of 2019. Interesting. They leave worshippers covered with insects as cleaners battle to control the bugs at Islam's holiest site. Interesting. So Mail Online just published that. And here's the picture of what it looks like. There's locusts everywhere. This sounds biblical. It sounds like the plague of Egypt, doesn't it? Let's continue on. In Mexico, millions of locusts black out the sun in parts of Mexico, devastating crops and agriculture. That's the big wobble saying that. Interesting. And keep that wobble word in mind because you're going to see some wobbling later on. So what we're dealing with right now is the Parsha Bo. That's what I'm teaching tomorrow on Sabbath. Bo is go. Get out of Egypt. And we have the last three plagues. The first one is locusts. Interesting. And then we go into darkness. Very interesting. And then the death of the firstborn, and they're out. So that's what it looks like. And this is where we are. We're in Egypt. So let's read from the Parsha that I'll be reading tomorrow on Sabbath. Adonai said to Moses, reach out your hand over the land of Egypt so that locusts will invade the land and eat every plant that the hail has left. Moshe reached out his staff over the land of Egypt, and Adonai caused an east wind. That's ancient, just so you know. East is from the ancient of days, to blow on the land all day and all night. And in the morning, the east wind, the ancient wind, brought the locusts. The locusts went up all over the land of Egypt and settled throughout Egypt's territory. It was an invasion more severe than they had ever been before and ever will be again. They completely covered the ground, just like Mecca, so that the ground looked black. They ate every plant growing from the ground and all the fruit of the trees left by the hail. Not one green thing remained, not a tree, not a plant in the field, in all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh hurried to summon Moshe and said, I have sinned against Adonai your God and against you. Now therefore please forgive my sin just this once and intercede with Adonai your God so that he will at least take away from me this deadly plague. He's starting to lose this battle. He went out and realized that he's losing it. He went out from Pharaoh and interceded with Adonai. Moses did that. Adonai reversed the wind and made it blow very strongly from the west. The west would be the Acharith. That's the end of days. And it took up the locusts and drove them into the Yam Suf, the Sea of Suf. Not one locust remained on Egyptian soil, so nobody could eat them because they're a good, tasty snack. But Adonai made Pharaoh hard-hearted, and he didn't let the people of Israel go. Adonai said to Moshe, reach out your hand toward the sky, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness so thick it can be felt like jello. We have two witnesses of this. We have Saudi Arabia and Mexico with locust plagues during Parshat Bo. Do you see the coincidence? Now let's take it forward and show you what's going on right now. So you can see behind me this epic sign of what's going on in the end times. We've gone through a series of eclipses of the sun and the moon on one side, and then the eclipses of the sun and the moon on the other side, and down below are the big four, the tetrad that occurred back in 2014 and 2015. They're all equidistant. They all have meaning back and forth. We don't know why this pattern ends, this perfect pattern ends 1/21 of 19, but it is interesting that there are epic signs going on all over the place. So let's look at the signs in terms of the text of the Joel chapter 2. So I will restore to you the years that the locusts ate, the grasshoppers, the shearer worms, and the cutter worms, and my great army that I shall send against you. You will eat until you are satisfied. Locusts on a log, and will praise the name of Adonai your God, who has done with you such wonders. Then my people will never again be shamed. You will know that I am with Israel, and that I am Adonai your God, and that there is no other. Then my people will never again be shamed. After this, I will pour out my spirit on all humanity. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. And also on my male and female slaves in those days I will pour out my spirit. I will show wonders in the sky, and on the earth blood, fire, and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and terrible day of Adonai. At that time, whoever calls on the name of Adonai will be saved. For on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there will be those who escape, as Adonai has promised. Among the survivors will be those whom Adonai has called. You're looking at the signs right now. You're looking at these signs that are listed in the end times in Joel 2. And especially 2:28. You should see things occurring. You should notice this in your own spirit. Dreams, visions, other prophecies should be happening right now as you see the blood moons occurring, as you see the comets coming through over the last thousands of years. You're seeing all these signs, but you're seeing more of it right now, and we'll give you even more information as we move forward. So now let's surmise one more time. We have the two more witnesses. We have signs in the heavens, blood moon eclipses, and solar minimum, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And on the earth, locusts, we've talked about that, and magnetic changes. I will talk about that. Of apocalyptic changes are these. So let's look at the scientific reasons why you should be aware of what's going on in the world. Earth's magnetic pole is on the move fast, and we don't know why. This is from News Corp. This is a news source, people. This isn't just some eschatologist like me saying this. This is from Australia. Earth's magnetic field is what allows us to exist. It deflects harmful radiation. It keeps our water and atmosphere in place, but now it's acting up and nobody knows why. That's what they're saying, not me. So this is an actual news source saying this. So the pole is moving. It used to move towards Canada. Now it's moving back towards Russia. That's why Russia is invading people south of them and doing so many things that really are immoral, we'll call them, down in Syria and in their satellite nations that they gave back, but they want them back again. Russia has to move south as the pole chases them south. So keep that in mind. And that means we'll be warmer in the United States, but we'll also have some other problems with the big wobble. So that's from January 11th, and this is recent history, where I've known about this for a period of time, but now it's getting worse. Okay, so this is a picture of the motion, how it's moved from the true north over towards Canada, but now it's moving towards Russia, and Russia and Putin know this. So here's another report from nature.com. Earth's magnetic field is acting up and geologists don't know why. The erratic motion of the north magnetic pole forces experts to update the model that aids global navigation. That's from January 9th of 2019. So they have to report on it. So the main thing is, keep this in mind, our magnetosphere is what protects us from UV rays and from solar wind and other issues that could hurt us, okay? So you would have to be careful right now, especially down in South America. They can't have satellites over you anymore in South America because the UV rays would destroy the satellites, and also you're going to get cancer if you go out in South America and sit out in the sun all day long every day. It's just going to happen because, unfortunately, our magnetosphere is thin and the rays are getting through. So be aware of that. It thinned 10% from 1880 to 2000, then another 5% from 2000 to 2010. Then now it's thinning 5 times faster, and we don't know why. Actually, it might be 10 times faster. It's thinning very, very quickly right now. And so that means more debris gets through, more UV gets through, more solar wind gets through, and that's what you're dealing with. And then on our side, the magnetic, how things are held together magnetically on the Earth, when the poles shift, things are going to move. So you're going to have rifts between the continents, and you're going to notice more earthquakes. What I want to cite is this, Suspicious Observers. It's Ben Davidson, and he has an excellent expose of 5 videos that you can watch on what's going on magnetically, and they're from January of 2019. So please go hit that. Ben's a wonderful guy. He is a person that observes the natural and reports on it, and so he really doesn't have an agenda other than being a scientist. Then here's his video where he says magnetic pole reversal is accelerating. So you can hit that January 11th video and watch it and kind of learn. So the next thing is, this talks about just all the things that he runs. He runs also the Space Weather News site. And so just be aware that these are great resources for you to hit and learn more about it. Then the other person that I watch is Dutchsin's. So he's a fine scientist from the Missouri area, and he gives me all my earthquake alerts so that I know when I'm going to California shortly that I can be very, very careful because I'll be right on the coastline, right on the fault line, actually. What I want you to do is be aware that the world is changing. It's wobbling, and there are signs from God that match up with the Bible in terms of what's happening. I don't know about Nibiru. I don't know. I've studied it, but I can't prove that we have any planet that's coming through right now, but it could be. And there's nothing we could do if there's a planet coming around and coming close and disturbing our gravity and literally sucking us with it because of its pull. And I don't know what else is happening with the sun that would cause these things to happen. But I want you to be aware, and I want you to do this as your homework. So I want you to read Isaiah 24 and 34, because 24 is part of the mini apocalypse. So it kind of tells you what's going on in the end times. It's the Jewish version of Revelation. So read 24 through 27 if you care to. That's the whole apocalypse. Then read 34 also, so you'll see that the earth is a drunkard, swaying to and fro. And then go hit Suspicious Observers and watch some of his videos just to learn what's going on. And if you want to, you can watch Dutch Sense. His videos are very long, but they're wonderful too. So please do your homework and then come back and ask me questions. And hit the bell to like our videos and hit parentheses to be updated when the new ones come out, and then follow us.